And I ask you something else, because I think you capture class, and particularly working class Hamilton, better
Right.
than any writer that I can
Oh,
remember
thank you.
reading. And you cover elements of the darkness in this community.
Right.
And many, my friend Tom Wilson talks about, the terrible scars of growing up in Hamilton, or beautiful scars he
Yeah.
describes it as,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's a nice way of putting it.
But that's not, especially in LGBTQ literature, class is not often characterized with the fullness that.
No, not historically.
Yeah.
Historically, when you get to like Maurice, and where it's Cambridge. They're in Cambridge
Right.
and they're like reading ancient Greek
Yeah.
love poems to each other, or Hollinghurst, who I love, and The Stranger's Child again at Cambridge with two men. Like it's never two guys on the
Right.
afternoon shift at Firestone.
Right.
So I think that was something that I wanted to say, and about not just about gay people, but also these lives in the East End are worth hearing about.
Right.
And everyone has a story, and everyone has deserves respect for those stories.
For sure.
And there's beautiful stories of people who generations that grew up there. Their mother and father grew up there, and just trying to do their best. This nobility of working hard.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I don't think there's a lot of class stories that I'm aware of people in the East End. It's like there's stories deserve to be told, and I'm hoping that I do some of that.
Yeah.
These stories that I heard growing up, especially women. I dedicated To Refrain from Embracing to my mom. These women in the East End who held these families together. They all worked. Everybody I knew. No one had a mother that stayed home. If they did, I didn't know them. Like they all worked at Domglass, at Hoover, at Felfab, at Cougar Boots. And then they'd have to come home and do everything.
Unbelievable.
And how their concepts of identity, because I worked a lot with identity on this one, especially my mother's Indigenous identity, and what that means to the character in the book, and how that when she's separated from her Indigenousness, and her mother, like my grandmother, was born in a reserve in Minnesota, and moved to Hamilton, and they were really the only Indigenous people they knew was my mom and her siblings. So she lost this culture, and it was always a great pain for her. So that's part of what I tried to.
And that's how the book finishes.
Yeah, it was, and that line about maybe your ancestors are calling you was said to me. I was at a smudging ceremony at Pride, and the man who did it, I was talking to him afterwards about my own history, and he said, "I think your ancestors are calling you."
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, it was quite sweet.
You got to come and do my book club.
I would love to.
It's a couple of retired cops and a couple of journalists.
Okay.
The most cynical people in the world, and one token former politician. So you can imagine the level of the discourse. And we occasionally read a book in addition to drinking red wine. So
right. Yeah. So the crime element should be interest to them.
100%. And every one of them would be conversant with Rollo, with Evelyn Dick, with all of the great. And we haven't even touched on Hamilton organized crime, which is, of course, another rich repository that I would hope you would mine at some point.
Perhaps. Yeah, just very cursory in these books.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. But
it has been fun.
I have to tell you, I have both loved reading your second book and am now going to pick up Shirts and Skins.
Great.
You touch so many elements of what makes this place interesting, and your writing's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Sad, poignant, but beautiful.
Thank you.
I am grateful for you taking the time to come here from the Big Smoke.
I love coming back to Hamilton.
So good to have you with us.
Thank you.
I'm Terry Cooke. You've been watching Hamilton's Vital Signs with Jeffrey Luscombe, author, novelist, Hamiltonian, and a good human being. I hope you will, as always, follow us on social media. Stay well and join us again next month. Over and out.